How many times have people done things for money that they really didn't want to do, that really didn't make sense, maybe was gonna bombard them or overwhelm their schedule, but they needed the money or wanted the money, right? But when you're in a financial position to where you don't have to say yes to everything, right? You can say no and know you're not missing out on anything. I like to say, if it does not align, I must decline, right? Say it with me. I must have the anointment for the appointment. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Financial Freedom Fast Lane. The quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to enjoy it. And as you know, I'm your host, George Acheampong, and I'm super excited for this episode for a couple of reasons. Number one, you are watching this on a Friday. So now we are Financial Freedom Fast Lane Friday. Say that 3 times fast, right? So we decided to switch it up a little bit, right? Before we had shows on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we wanted to space things out just a little bit. And so I had the choice to stay on Monday and Carter moved to Friday. But I was like, Financial Freedom Fast Lane Fridays kind of has a ring to it. Bit of a tongue twister, but it kind of has a ring to it. So that is the first thing to be excited about. How are you guys? First and foremost, thank you guys for tuning into the channel. A lot of exciting stuff coming. Again, I like to invite you guys into the journey. It's going to be super cool to look back on these episodes a year from now and to see how much we evolve, because I already know what 365 days from now looks like, right? You don't know it yet, but I do. And it just enhanced production value, a variety of new segments, and just really taking the show to the next level, right? So super, super excited. And also, as you guys can tell, I got a new microphone. So for those of you who watch the channel, you know that not too long ago, actually, I want to say a month ago today, as of this recording, I was robbed at gunpoint. And not only did they take my wallet, my passport, credit cards, my clothes, my laptop, literally everything but the clothes on my back, I also had my podcast equipment with me, right? And as a result, that got taken. And so I had some pretty nice podcast equipment, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the most out of this, and I'm gonna do a little bit of research and figure out, what to upgrade to. And I found this mic that I now love. It has like a pretty good mic stand as well. So if I decide I want to move my setting, I can do so. My other one was desktop, so didn't have as much range of motion in terms of like how you could position it. But this, I can take it upstairs. I can do a lot with it. So we'll see where this mic takes me. So I'm excited about that as well. And on this episode, we kind of are crowdsourcing the bullet points, because I tweeted the other day, and I will try to get this added in post-production. But I tweeted, I said, what are some non-financial markers of success, right? That you're making financial progress that aren't necessarily extra zeros in the bank account per se, or extra zeros in the investment account, right? But a kind of an indication that you're moving in the right direction, right? And so I tweeted this. Obviously, I had some of my own that I thought, but I was like, what better way than to get the audience involved and tweet it out to see what the response was. Actually, shout out to Rakim Sabri, because he is tapped in on Twitter. I'm more tapped in on Instagram. He's tapped in on Twitter. And so he reshared it. And I'm sure that I got the magnitude of responses that I got because of his reshare. So shout out to Rakim Sabri. If you want to know more about financial trauma and the impacts they might have on you, that's the guy you want to check out. And we'll make sure that we have him either on this show or the podcast. We haven't had any guests on this show yet. Should we have him on this show, or should we have him on the Melanin Money Show? You decide. All right. So let's get into some of the responses that we got from our lovely community over at Twitter as it relates to what are some measures of progress that aren't necessarily monetary, right? So let's get into it. So the first one is feeling less stressed. So I personally believe that wealth and health are really intertwined. And that's why I created the Wealth Health Score, because one, I think you definitely need to know your personal health, but you have to measure the health of your wealth journey as well. And I believe that those two things are interrelated. Here's why, right? One of the leading causes of death is heart disease. One of the leading causes of heart disease is stress. One of the leading causes of stress are financial concerns, right? So it's safe to say that if you don't have your money right, if you're worried about money, it can have an impact on your health, right? They're all kind of intertwined. And so for me, hearing someone say that a measure of success or financial success is that they feel less stressed about their money, right, makes all the sense in the world to me, right? So again, you might log into the bank account and you might not see an extra zero per se, but if you feel like, man, I'm in control of my money, I don't have any stress or worries or burden, or I'm feeling less of that, then that means you're probably moving in the right direction. All right. So another sign of financial success or progress is that you're in a position where you can now pay for services that you might ordinarily do for yourself, right? And it's not breaking the bank. And that could be things like getting your nails done, right? Some people do their own hair. I would never cut my own hair because, shout out to my barber, right? Maybe even getting someone to clean the house or do the laundry. If you're in a position where you can take some load off your plate and delegate and outsource some stuff, right? And it's not breaking the bank or hurting your budget, then that's probably a good sign that you're in a healthy financial position, right? Would you agree with that? I would agree with that. All right, another really, really good one is being able to take the time off that you need without worrying, right? Yes, some people who work have, PTO, couple weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. I know some tech companies nowadays even do unlimited PTO. But oftentimes people are in a rush to get back to work because they need the money, right? So for example, I actually have a woman on my team who's in the Philippines. I have people that are stateside and I have a few people that are abroad. And she literally just today, right? She said, hey, I'm about to have a baby and can I have 4 days off? I'm like, 4 days? What? You can't do anything in 4 days. Take all the time you need, right? But she probably was only saying that because she felt like she needed the money and she didn't realize that I was going to be willing to pay her through maternity leave, right? Because, in the Philippines and other countries, it's a lot more competitive, right? They're very grateful for the roles that they have working for US-based companies, and they don't want to lose those opportunities. And so she didn't want to lose the money, and she was still in her, probationary period and hadn't accrued a certain amount of PTO just yet. But when I heard that, I'm like, you've been doing a great job and please take all the time you need. So being able to take time off, right, when you need it and not have to worry about it is huge, right? Because imagine if I was a bad boss and I was like, nah, I'm gonna need you back in the office. Can you do 3 days? Right? She probably would have tried to find a way to make it happen. Like she literally told, because she doesn't report to me, she reports to my operations manager. She literally told my operations manager, if I need to, I will take my laptop to the hospital. Now, while a part of me, very small part of me was like, man, she's dedicated, she's loyal, that's a great person to have on your team. My more bigger thought was like, oh my gosh, like why would she even think that she would have to do that, right? I would never request that of her. And I hope that she realizes that's not something, that I would want her to have to do, right? And so that just goes to show you that depending upon your financial position, right, it's gonna be very important to feel confident that, hey, if I need time off, maternity leave, mental health day, even if my job doesn't offer it, I'm going to take it off. Again, luckily, I'm going for Best Boss of the Year award. And that's not something that her or any of my employees will have to worry about. I will always do everything I can to make sure they're taken care of, right? But being able to take time off when you need it is huge. All right, this was a really, really popular one. Automating your finances. Right? That is like adulting 3.0. If you can set all your bills up on auto pay, you know that you have made it to the land of real adulting, right? Now, one caveat I'll give to that is sometimes bills that are relatively supposed to be fixed, they might add an extra cost in or something like that. And I do kind of like to have some awareness when I pay the bill to make sure they're like, hey, hold on now. You got too much dip on your chip. I'm not supposed to be charged that extra charge, but knowing that you have the financial resources to be able to set your bills up on auto pay, I think is still a huge win. It's just tomato, right? Because I know I've experienced several times where I was overcharged for something I thought was a fixed expense. And so for me, some things are on auto pay and some things I like to manually pay myself. All right, I think this is the big one. This might be my favorite one, right? Being able to say no and having the peace of mind to be able to do so, right? This is huge. How many times have people done things for money that they really didn't want to do, that really didn't make sense, maybe was gonna bombard them or overwhelm their schedule, but they needed the money or wanted the money, right? But when you're in a financial position to where you don't have to say yes to everything, right? You can say no and know you're not missing out on anything. I like to say, if it does not align, I must decline, right? Say it with me. I must have the anointment for the appointment. All right, now take them to church. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, just being able to say no when it doesn't make sense, right? But most people aren't always in that position. Like there's things that they know, like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this, or this is just a money grab, or I'd much rather focus on X, Y, and Z. But they're not in a position to do so because of their finances. I actually tweeted today as of this recording, and I was like, I feel like financial independence is not so much about not working, but being able to do what you are passionate about without having to put pressure on it, right? Because oftentimes there's things that we want to do simply because we enjoy it, right? But LLC Twitter will tell you that everything got to be monetized. I love crab legs. All right, my G, we'll start you a food truck, create the bottled dip and butter sauce so you can sell it as an upsell. Like, nah, my G, I just like eating crab legs. I like cooking them. I like shit. Like everything don't have to be monetized, right? But when you're in a position that you feel like I got to make money from everything because of my current financial status, sometimes it forces you to put pressure on your passion too fast, or doesn't allow you to do the things that you're most passionate about because you have to focus on the things that might allow you to make money today. And that's not a good position to be in, right? Because I feel like there's things that we're all called to do, and some things that we just want, that we just enjoy, that will make our hearts sing, that we can't even make space for because we're chasing every dollar, right? So make sure that you get yourself in a position where you can do the things you love and feel like, you know what, I can just do it because I enjoy it, not because I need to get paid for it. And last but not least on the list is not having any level of anxiety when you log into your online banking or your investment account, because you are fully aware of where you stand with your money, right? Some people, it feels like back in the day when you were in school and grades just came out and you weren't sure how you did in class and you didn't really want to log in. And you were like kind of covering the screen, like slowly revealing what your grade was. For some of us, that's how it is with our bank account, right? They log into your online banking, you're like, man, I don't know what happened. The weekend was crazy. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going to happen when those pending charges post. And that might give you a level of anxiety, or you might avoid checking the account altogether because of that reality. But if you ever feel like you don't really have anxiety about checking your finances or opening your investment account or your savings account or whatever the case may be, that's probably a good sign that you're moving in the right direction because you have a grasp of where your money is, right? So these are just some of the ones that were tweeted and shared about, you know, measures of financial health that aren't necessarily monetary in nature. But I really wanted to touch on this topic because for me, it's kind of like if someone steps on the scale and maybe they're trying to lose weight and the number's not going down as fast as they want, but they feel better, their clothes fit better, right? They're getting better rest. Those are all markers of being in better health, but maybe that number isn't reflected on the scale. And so now you can have ways to measure your financial progress, even if you're not seeing that bank account go up as fast as you wanted. Oh my God, 21 Savage say, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Soon you'll have those M's in your bank account. But if you don't right now, still make good choices, build good habits, and I promise you, you'll be on your way to the financial freedom fast lane. Until next time, guys, remember, the quicker you get to your dream life, the longer you get to enjoy it. And as I always like to say, freedom is for sale if you're willing to pay the price.